Love is the biggest force in life. And where there is love, the impossible easily becomes possible. That is the power of love. And that is the message in the story that I am going to relate to you. This is the tale of Lata Bhagwan Khare, who lived with her husband in Buldhana district, Maharashtra. They were daily wage workers on a landowner's farm. And by the amount they earned, they were barely able to eat and sustain themselves. The little bit they had saved over the years, they had spent in the weddings of their 3 daughters. They were now old. One day, on returning from work, the husband complained of a terrible ache in his chest. Lata gave him traditional herbs, but they were of no use. The next day, she took him to the local doctor. He said the matter was serious and he needed to be taken to the big hospital in the city nearby. Lata was crestfallen. She did not have the resources for that. In desperation, she begged and borrowed from her friends and relatives, and then embarked on the journey with her sick husband. On reaching the hospital, she felt overwhelmed and out of place. People were giving them condescending looks, as if they seemed to have lost their way into the hospital. Not to be deterred, Lata paid what she had to arrange for the doctor's appointment. The doctor, on seeing, said he needed some more tests for the complete diagnosis, and only then the treatment could begin. Lata felt shattered. She took the doctor's slip and walked out of the hospital. She had no money for the diagnosis. She decided they would have to return. Since they were both hungry, they stopped at the nearby tea shop and asked for some samosas. The shop owner gave them the samosas on a piece of paper. The headlines caught her eyes. Baramati Marathon prize money available. Money, that was what she needed. They spent the night under a bus stand. The next day she reached the venue. She had never participated in a race prior to this all her life. She had never heard of what a marathon was. All she knew was she needed the money for the treatment of her husband. The organizers refused to allow her participation. Everyone else was young. They were in the most appropriate sports attire, whereas here was a lady in her 60s, dressed in traditional Maharashtrian sari. But she was adamant. After an hour, they relented. The race began. And to everyone's surprise, Lata Bhagwan Khare was in the lead. She had slippers. After a little while, they tore. She left them behind and continued to run for her life. In the end, to the astonishment of everyone, Lata Bhagwan Khare was announced as the winner of the Baramati Marathon. She walked off with the prize money, got her husband treated. That was the power of her love. The next year, she returned again. The treatment was not yet over. She won the marathon once more, and after that, yet again. When we hear this story, we wonder, what is it that could make a 62-year-old lady running the marathon for the first time in her life defeat everyone in the race? It was her love that was motivating her. But this love was directed towards her husband. And the worldly relationships of husband, wife, son, daughter, father, mother, sister, brother are all based upon the body. They are temporary. The moment the body perishes, that relationship is over. On the other hand, our eternal relationship is with God. And that is from eternity till eternity. If we can discover that relationship and the endless fountain of love, which is called bhakti, what can we not do inspired by devotion? Let me read out a bit of this to you from 7 Divine Laws to Awaken Your Best Self. Bhakti means immense love for the Lord. In it, we develop an intense longing to see Him, to meet Him, and to be with Him. Whatever we do, the mind remains attached to God, and the thoughts flow towards Him like rivers flowing towards the ocean. Such love in the heart cleans it of all impurities. With a pure heart, we start seeing the divinity of all living beings and in all things. That is the glory of devotion. In the remaining sections of this chapter I'm reading to you from the book, we will discuss how to dovetail our mind towards God in bhakti. And as usual, we will progress logically and sequentially, one step at a time. This bhakti, this love is what enabled Mirabai to drink the cup of poison as if it was the charanamrit of her beloved Shri Krishna. This bhakti is what enabled Prahlad to sit in the fire and remain untouched, to finally come out alive by realizing the presence of his beloved in every atom of that conflagration. We need now to understand the nature of this love and what it can make us do in our lives.